And we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Bob and Sheri Happy Hour. Bob, Sheri, and Heather with you
Are we
tonight.
are we here? Are we signed in? Can anyone see us?
Here.
We've already had some problems.
Yeah.
Bob, I want to hear about your trip to Hawaii. I've never been. I've always wanted to go. My ideas of Hawaii are shaped 1,000% by movies and TV shows. So yeah, like spill. What was that like? I was so happy you got to do that.
Well, we went only to Maui because I've been to Maui and I've been to Oahu, where Honolulu is. And Honolulu is a wonderful city, but it is a city. No two ways about it. And I just didn't want Mary, who's never been there before, to get into like an urban thing. They have a traffic problem in Honolulu. And yeah, you can go to the other side of the island and it's still beautiful and there's wonderful things to do. But I picked Maui for two reasons. Number one, it is absolutely, I think, the most beautiful place on the planet. And number two, Lahaina was wiped out and the tourism went down. That was the town in Hawaii. Most of you out there probably remember that burned down for a variety of reasons. And a lot of the folks, were
Yeah.
homeless and worked in restaurants and hotels and all, and really were struggling. And so I decided if we're going to spend some money, let's spend it in that part of the islands. So that aside, we had a wonderful hotel. The Hawaiian spirit of hospitality is just fantastic. It's just unbelievable. Now, you have to keep in mind that I only realized this recently. Hawaii is the most remote place on the planet. I thought it would be somewhere like Fiji or Bora Bora or I don't know where. It's farther away from civilization than any other place. And that's what makes it, I think, for me, so exotic. And we took a tour one day with about 6 or 8 other people to Hana, which is a very small village that is 47 miles away from our hotel. Now, that doesn't sound like a whole lot, but it goes like this. And
So it's
sometimes,
2 hours.
yeah, at least. And sometimes there are small bridges. And, but along the way, the waterfalls, the mountains that crash into the sea, Jim Neighbor's property, George Harrison's property. Now, you can't see the houses. I think George sold his prior to his death. But you get an idea of how these folks were living. And it's absolutely gorgeous. We stopped for lunch at this one little outdoor restaurant that this woman runs, and her husband is 82 years old. And in the back of the restaurant, he's created what looks like the Garden of Eden. And he works on it every single day. They have the highest life expectancy of anywhere in the United States. I think number two, what was number two? Somewhere in
Trenton. Was it Trenton? Probably
that was top
in the
five.
Garden
But
State.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. But we had a wonderful time, and we didn't do a lot of the really touristy things like a Hawaiian luau and the hula dancers and all of that. But I just had so much fun, and I had just the best birthday. And thank you to all of our supporters who wished me happy birthday. Very, very sweet and very appreciative.
When you say that Hawaii's the most remote place, so here's something trippy to think about. When you picture, like when you close your eyes and picture the planet Earth, the view of it that you picture is the North American continent, the South American continent, Europe, Africa, Asia, right? You can see that on the side of the globe. If you turn the world around, it's all blue because about 90% of the planet is covered in water and the Pacific Ocean is so unbelievably vast. That's what made the movie Castaway, the Tom Hanks movie with the
Yeah,
volleyball,
yeah,
so interesting because his plane crashed somewhere in the Pacific. He was never going to get found if he hadn't have gone off that island by
right.
himself because he was on a tiny rock in the middle of this enormous, vast blue sea. And not only are we 90% water, but we've only mapped 20% of the ocean floor on the planet Earth. So
Right.
I mean, think about that.
I know. I
Yeah,
know. You know what was really one of the most, to me, amazing visuals of my life? Bora Bora is much smaller than Maui or the Big Island of Hawaii or even Oahu. It's a smaller island, part of French Polynesia, and so I had the TV crew with me, and I always wanted to go there. Just the name Bora Bora,
Bora Bora.
it's so exotic. And so I've got the window seat on the plane coming in, and I could look down and see almost the entire island. And I thought, there ain't nothing around for hundreds of miles. We're going to be on this speck. And it was just so exotic. I mean, I
Yeah.
grew up in the cold winters of North Haven, Connecticut, and I would watch television shows that were, detective shows from Hawaii and like Hawaii Five O and the Magnum and all the movies. There was one with Charlton Heston called Diamond Head. The Elvis movies. There were two Elvis movies, or maybe even three, in Hawaii, and I'd sit there in a movie theater or watching it on TV, and it's 10 degrees outside, and my mom and dad are smoking cigarettes in this little small house, and I got the allergies going, and I'm going, I want to go there. And I think seeing those images, as you were saying, at such a young age, propelled me to find
Yeah.
a way to go to see it. And I hope everybody can, for a few days in their life, visit that place.
Something that I wonder about with island life is, do you kind of have to be born to it? Because one of the things, so the reason I say is because one of the things Kevin and I did, he drove to Washington D.C. to pick me up from a conference, and then we took the longest, slowest, most random way home you can imagine, and we drove the entire length of the North Carolina Outer Banks. It's a set of barrier islands out in the Atlantic, like Blue
Beautiful.
Blackbeard the pirate, like shipwrecks everywhere,
Yeah.
rugged, wild, beautiful. I don't know what percentage of it, but a really big chunk of it is the Cape Hatteras National Seashore. So it's a protected national park, wild dunes. I mean, we had the beach to ourselves. It was like we were the last people on earth. And we got to Ocracoke. You have to take a ferry to get to Ocracoke Island, and then you have to take a ferry from Ocracoke Island to get to the mainland. And that ferry is 2 hours and 15 minutes, which is nothing to complain about. You drive your car on, you get a boat ride, right? Um, but Kevin loves Key West, and that's a dream that I destroyed for him, as I have destroyed so many dreams for men. And so he fell in love with Ocracoke. And I was like, wouldn't it be cool to rent a house here for like maybe 6 or 7 months and try island life on for size? And we talked about it. I mean, for me, like, because I can work from anywhere as long as I have internet, technically I could do that. But I know me. I'm a 2 hour and 15-minute ferry ride from the mainland, and then about a 5 hour car ride to get to one of my kids, like if they needed me. And I don't know that I have enough mental health for island life. How about you?
I think it's something that is innate in you. Like I've spent as much as a half a month on Little Cranberry Island off the coast of Maine near Bar Harbor a couple of times. And I guess year round, there are 30 people on that island. There are no cars, or only a couple of cars. It's mostly lobster fishermen and their families. And then during the summertime, city people come and they either own a house there or they rent a house there. You have to take the garbage out in a certain way, in certain
Yeah,
sacks, like grapefruit sacks.
yeah.
You have to have an order of food brought over by a boat. And so you have to be a person that is very content with being solitary and introspective. Like Henry Isaac is a guy that I knew. I bought two of his paintings. He's a painter, and he was from Boston, but he lived out there for a couple of years, including the winter. And he had his painting shack in the back of the house he was renting. And so, if you're a painter and a lot of what goes on in your head is in your head, or if you're a writer or something, but if you're Mary Lacey,
Yeah, no. I have all of
No
that for
way.
island life. Like I have all of that times 2 for island life. I just worry about like my anxiety being because like I check multiple times a day. I check Find My iPhone, and the last thing I do before I go to bed every night is I make sure Heather's where she's supposed to be, and Olivia and Caribbean are where they're supposed to be. And what would I do if, okay, now I'm living on an island. Let's say that we rent a boat and I can get to the mainland in an hour and 45 minutes, right? And then I still have that 5 hour drive. So I'm on the island. I'm living island life, man. Like I'm just really living my best island life. And it's 11:30 p.m. on a Tuesday. And I look at my phone and Heather is in some distant forest. Now I know she's been abducted and is being tied to a tree and ritualistically tortured. How am I going to get to her, Bob? How am I going to do that?
You call Lamar.
Yeah, or Max, Doc. Max, Heather's tied to a tree in the national park forest. You need to go get her. So I do
If you're
worry
if
about
you're
that.
somebody who needs to go to Starbucks, who needs to get a certain sort of pizza, I mean, those would be things that I think I would miss a lot. Where I live now is an island, but it's so close to the mainland, it's not really a big deal. But there are certain places that I miss um, in my past. Um, you just have to say, I'm giving up this to get that. And I think there are people joining us tonight who live maybe not on an island, but they live in the country. You know?
It's not a forever thing. Like I just want to
Yeah.
try it on for size. And let me say, where did you go? Come back, come back. Billy Prevette. No one teach my mom how to share locations. I'm
Right.
53 and she'd be doing that nightly too.
So
It's
listen. So
yeah, it's
listen.
just a little thing.
Listen to this. Just before I went on, I was looking at Facebook, and I'm not on Facebook a lot, but because of vacation and people were wishing me happy birthday, I went on it a lot more. And I was posting a lot of what I thought were pretty good pictures and little videos of our trip to Hawaii. And so I went just to check it, and up pops a guy named Peter Earl. Peter Earl and I were in eighth grade together, eighth and ninth grade, maybe 10th. And he lived about a half a mile from me. His parents had a really nice house. We were renting one of our many rental houses not that far from him. And so we both liked rock and roll, and he played guitar. And so I went over to his house one day, and he's playing his guitar, and I started singing. And he said, "Yeah, we should start a group." We found another guy, and now we got a couple of guitars and me. And yeah, we're 15 years old. Well, I met some other guys, and I decided, because boys at the age of 15 until about 28 are heartless. And I dumped Peter Earl for a better guitar player and
Oh,
a better drummer and a better keyboard guy. And we became a really popular group around New Haven. And of course, eventually they got rid of me and got a better singer. But I was
ooh,
replaced. I was
ouch.
replaced. Peter Earl did not say I'm done. He replaced me with Michael Bolton.
Hey, at least you got replaced by a legend.
Now they didn't stay. He wasn't a part of his life. But I'm looking at this, and do you know what?
But
I, I,
still,
I looked at what Peter Earl did. Last time I saw him, he was just playing guitar with a silly little band I had. He spent his life as an art director, a director of plays, and for the last 31 years, the musical director and teacher for a middle school in Connecticut. He
that's
did
cool.
good.
He did really
Yeah.
good. He did really
So
good. Bob, you need to be, I know that it's hard because you don't like Michael Bolton's music and he replaced you in your band, but you got replaced by Michael Bolton. We have a couple of stations where we've been replaced by a talking alarm clock. So I
yeah,
feel
that's
like you
true.
should be happy, you
Right.
know? I feel like you
And
should.
the program directors like the talking alarm clock a lot more,
Oh,
much
yeah.
more consistency, and did a lot of relatables.
And always had the time checks right, unlike
Always.
me where I would sometimes get the math wrong. So,
Yeah. Right.
yeah.
No, you're right. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, like
That's right.
I think if I had lost something to a person who went on to be a legend in the field, I mean, you don't want to lose, right?
Yeah. Can we stop talking about it? For
I,
I'm done with the whole
I'm
thing. I'd like to
surprised
move
you
on.
brought it up. Yeah, I am. Herbert wants to know what we're drinking tonight. Heather is teetotaling, I think.
I am.
I'm drinking
Red
a.
wine,
I'm
Cabernet.
drinking a Pinot from the Russian River Valley in Sonoma County
Ah,
because I'm
nice.
very biased towards Sonoma County wines, and so this is a DRG Daryl Rex Groom Pinot. I don't know where it came from. It may have been a gift.
But
Cheers.
by the way, your look tonight is the best look that I've seen on you in I don't know how long.
Oh my God, you like it because it's kind of preppy. Admit it.
Well, I mean, I like the stripes, the white. I hope I have it right. Pink and or
It's
red
like
and white stripes.
it's like pink and kind of
Yeah,
orangey.
it's very Nantucket. That's very
It's very
Nantucket. And
preppy,
the
yeah.
hair, your hair really now has come into its own. You know what I mean?
Karamia and Kevin love this shirt. And I feel like I'm in a costume. But I decided since my favorite color is gray, in classic Wednesday Addams fashion. But I decided that with my hair so light, Bob, don't you think I need to wear some colors?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, based on what I'm looking at here,
Yeah.
but the silver on the hair really has grown out and it looks good paired with the
Thank you.
glasses and the. Why don't I just get a job on Say Yes to the Dress? Just shut up, Bob.
Oh, shut up, Bob. A job on Say Yes to the Dress would be such a sweet gig. You would work 8 days a month and you'd be a
Yeah,
superstar on TV. And everywhere you went,
yeah,
people go, "Oh my God, are you Bob from Say Yes to the Dress?"
yeah. I'm afraid so.
I mean, you would not hate that. It would not be the
Oh
worst
my
thing.
God.
It's so funny, Heather, because I'll be flipping channels on cable, and I'm so angry and bitter on Bob's behalf about shit he's not angry and bitter about. For example, there are roughly 271 TV shows he should be hosting right now on basic cable. There are travel shows, home makeover shows, cooking shows, Say Yes to the Dress, The
No, I'm
Bachelorette.
making that one up. I'm not going to host Say Yes to the Dress or anything on Bravo. But you know where I really got
He's
screwed?
so good on the Travel Channel, Animal Planet, and Discovery.
Animal Planet. Yeah,
Mhm.
because I did a
Yeah,
perspective for a production company that
yeah.
was part of the company that used to own us, and I called it Tail Waggers. And the concept was we showed different types of dogs and a lot of puppies, and different types of cats and a lot of kitties, and we can sell the hell out of it to dog food, cat food, you know,
You were ahead of your
flex,
time.
flexi leash people and all of that.
Yeah.
And I did a great job with the thing. And the guy who accepted a look at it was deeply depressed at the time and couldn't get anything done and said to his boss, "This is a good idea, Jim, but like many good ideas, they sometimes seem a bit of a reach." Whatever that meant. 4 years later, it's on Animal Planet. Everybody's making money, and
um,
uh,
I sometimes think that one of our career has been, it would have made such a great Ted Lasso type show. It's too much for the networks, but like for a cable channel, our career would have been the best show because
yeah,
so
you're
many,
right.
you know what, Bob? So many times we've been stopped dead in our tracks by a person who's depressed. Remember the one guy? I'm not going to say too much about him, but he would sit in his office and he would have like a table lamp with a t-shirt over it to make it dim. And he would strum sad chords on his guitar because he had depression. Yeah, that was responsible for our careers for a long time.
I know. I know. It
And then
would be a very funny sitcom.
there was one that was so disorderly and unhinged that he was marched out of the building by security and ended up having to work behind the Iron Curtain because he couldn't get hired in American
Yeah.
radio. Right?
Wooden teeth. Yeah.
It sounds like Heather, it sounds like we make these things up, but it's just amazing to me. Like when I look back, and Bob and I, we were raised in families that taught us to just listen to whatever crazy was coming your way and try to work with it.
Right,
You know,
because somebody's
here's,
paying you, and
yeah, yeah,
don't let them know what stunads you are,
yeah.
because you're still getting paid, and we don't have to worry about you.
It's crazy. But Bob and I are looking at each other going like, well, he can't help being crazy. And maybe we should try a little harder and his crazy will get better. And sure enough, it never did. And it wasn't all men. There were two deeply disorderly women that were involved in driving us insane. But it would be a hell of a cable sitcom, a
It would
hell of
be.
a sitcom.
You
Yeah.
know, I think I put up with a lot of that bullshit because I had responsibilities to a family. I had children,
Yeah.
and I got close a few times to just walking out or saying "shove it" or really being very aggressive.
Yeah.
But what the safety lock would click on, and I would say, "But I still have to put Allie through college, or I still have, blah 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 blah." And I think people, and I'm glad I had a family, and I'm glad I have my children, and they love me, and they're great. If you really want to get ahead, I think
You got to
um,
be cold.
you got to be cold.
You got to be cold.
You got to be ice cold. Yeah.
Yeah. I was a single mom for so much of it, and the sole support of my children. Like I was it. There was no other money coming their way, and if they were
Right.
going to eat, mommy had to go to work. I could only suck up so much, as you know, before I would push back on these guys. But
Patricia Clemmer said, no, it wasn't Patricia. She's saying hi from Albemarle, North Carolina. Oh, there it is. Billy Prevette said that formula worked. WKRP in
yeah.
Cincinnati. It did.
Calvin's prank says radio manager would have been more sane if you two wouldn't have talked so much on your show. I mean, fair point. Fair
Fair
point.
point. Yeah.
Calvin, you don't even know. Like they would come in, these guys would come into the studio to have a meeting with us, and they would give us our new marching orders, and we would go, uh-huh, mm-hmm.
Gotcha, Chief.
Gotcha. You make some good points. And then the next day we would come in and just do whatever we pleased. And we got away with bloody murder for a
Yeah.
really long time.
Let's say hi to some of the folks who are with us. We're going on and on here.
Julie
Let's see.
Scoggins is here, and Pat Stevenson, and Marianne
Yeah.
Matheson, Ashley Godsey. Let me go back up because I know we have a bunch of. Let me get my mouse,
Yeah.
which I remember to charge for once in my damn life. Okay,
Here we go.
Pat's in Eugene, Oregon. We have Jennifer Burdett. Hey, Cheryl Newton and Lori Douglas, Sarah Kirby in Snowshoe, West Virginia, having a margarita tonight. Meredith Miller's drinking a lemonade moonshine. That actually does sound really good.
Mackenzie Jen, hi from Calabash, North Carolina. That is a great place. If you love the best fried seafood, you will find it in Calabash. Yeah.
Jack Bunny checking in. Hey, Jack Driggers and Amy Helton. Oh, you're glad to be back. We're glad to be back too. And we've got Shelvira, I hope I'm saying that right, Shelvira Donovan in Lawrence, New York, and Kara Casey's in Bangor. Hi, Adam Parker. Hey, Ed Early in Colorado, and Jessica Wallace in Aberdeen, South Dakota. We're just so glad to have you all here.
Just all over the place. That's
to have
just
you all here
fantastic.
tonight.
Yeah, yeah.
While we're taking a break, we're giving away these Bob mugs. It says, hold on while I overthink this. I know it's backwards because my screen is mirrored, but in honor of Bob's birthday. So we'll give away a couple of these tonight in the chat.
Every comment counts as an entry. Hi, Shannon and Mike Lynch from Fort Liberty. Hi, Kristen. Let me make sure I say your name right. Kristen Fagetta. Can I get a shout out? Fagetta. Am I saying that right? Fagetta.
What a
hi,
great
Terry
name.
Mint Hill. Isn't that a great name? Fagetta.
Bobby Fagetta. I love it. I've never heard of a Fagetta before. That's fantastic.
Forget about it. Forget about it in the morning, Bob. You left so much money on the table. Shelvira, I said your name right. Yay, yay, yay. Hi, Patricia Larson. How you doing? Hi, Scotty Blick and Hickory and Shara Patterson. who loves spending Thursday night with her happy hour family. Thank you so much, y'all. Seriously.
Can I see the Bob mug one more time?
Yeah, hold it up.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
fancy cartoon.
So I was unaware that those were coming out, but Tony sent me one. And when I say one, I mean one.
So when you opened it, you had no idea?
No, I had no idea. And so I showed Mary, I said, look at this, Mary, it's me on a mug. And look what it says, overthinking. Yeah. So it went up in the mug area where, we got mugs from everywhere she's traveled. She always gets a mug from somewhere. And I didn't see her drinking out of it,
So I have a Bob mug. Hold on while I overthink this.
Yeah.
So a couple of weeks ago, it was before we all went on vacation, looking at me, and we're talking. And finally she said, it's kind of meta that you're drinking out of a Chit Chat mug.
So I haven't seen my wife drink out of it.
It kind of is. She hasn't?
No.
Are you sure? Maybe she does it when you're not around to not give you the satisfaction.
My friends fight over this mug when they come visit me for their coffee.
Really?
Yeah.
So I walked into the kitchen one evening, and she was making something that required bacon, and she was frying up the bacon. And I looked over, and you know how you drain the grease out of the pan? Yeah.
Look at you, ever the helpful one.
Yep.
You know what worries me about stuff like this? Because we have a ton of Bob and Sheri stuff, right? My girls love to thrift, so we go on thrifting adventures. And I just know that at some point in the future, so like we got Gen Z, we got Gen Alpha, we're going to have Gen Cauliflower or whatever. And it's going to be 20 years from now. And that teenage girl is going to pick up like the Bob mug and go, oh my God, I don't know who this is. This is so funny. I'm totally buying it for a nickel.
I've already had that experience. Would you like to hear it?
I would.
So this is before you and I were together. And this is really cheesy. And I don't want people, it's a long time ago. So I'm like 23, 24 years old, something like that. And I've just got this is my best job in radio of all time. And they're going to do a little promotion. And so they had my face on a T-shirt, and it said, Bob Lacey playing the hits while you're eating your grits. Okay. And they gave, I don't know, they gave like hundreds of them away, and they do appearances, opening up a Wendy's, and you could win one and all. 10 years later, I'm doing television, and I'm in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and I'm riding shotgun in a van, and we're doing a show on kids that graduate and go to Myrtle Beach. And I looked over, and there is a grown man stumbling drunk with that shirt on.
There's a kind of immortality in that. Do you remember? So the old station that Bob and I worked for, the old exploitation mill, they had a knack for creating things no one wanted. Do you remember the ugly denim jackets with the giant multicolored embroidered logo and the elasticized sleeves? And it fit you like a big denim balloon.
It was like hideous. Something Elaine from Seinfeld's boyfriend would wear.
Yeah, it was hideous. Yeah. And the day came and they handed them out to every member of the staff. And we were all like, thank you, I think. So I put mine in the closet and left it there to gently age. But Max put his in the closet. Bob put his in the closet. We kept ours. We did not donate them or give them away because we were afraid the day would come when the boss would be like, let's take a group picture in our matching denim jackets. So we thought everyone had kept them. It's a Sunday afternoon on a beautiful fall day, and Max is driving down the interstate in his car, and up ahead is a person stumbling along the side of the interstate, facing Max, stumbling toward Max trying to hitch a ride, and he turns around at exactly the right moment for Max to see the jacket, the
Oh
hideous
my
denim
God.
jacket. Max almost ran the poor thing over. He was
Oh
so
my word. What? David Putty. That's right. Putty. Those jackets were like Putty's 8-ball jacket.
God, it was so ugly. It was horrible. Horrible. Hi, Jennifer Burdett and Selena DiNapoli and Kim English. Kim English wants you to recreate the shirt, Bob. That would actually be kind of funny. Do they don't listen, before let me just answer my own question. They didn't trademark jack shit. They didn't know where the bathrooms were. Yeah, we could recreate that. Do you want to?
Yeah, totally. We could totally do that. That's right.
All right, Heather, remind me and we'll talk to Tony about it. I think that would be funny. Hi, Dusty L. Day. I love your name, Dusty. When I was a kid, I had a Barbie doll named Dusty, and she was modeled after, I think she was modeled after some famous tennis player, because unlike regular Barbie dolls who had, the Barbie foot, Dusty had flat feet because, you can't move around the tennis court in your little high feet. And I was so excited because you could stand Dusty on the floor. And
Yeah.
she would stand there. And then the dog chewed off her feet, which felt like a commentary from the patriarchy. And that was the end of Dusty being able to stand.
Barbie is 65 years old this week.
Oh,
Who is?
Barbie.
Barbie the doll?
Yeah.
Barbie is a Virgo. I never knew that.
Yeah. I mean, that's what a service that I have reported on. And what was it? Krispy Kreme, of course, is trying to jump on that. And they have Barbie donuts, pink donuts, and so on. Yeah, 65 years ago.
Patricia Larson is asking where the Book of Bob is. It's sold out. We'll put it back in the store as soon as we can get it reprinted. So, yeah, it's just sold out right now. I watched a little bit of Barbie. Kevin hasn't seen the Barbie movie. And I watched a little bit of the Barbie movie on cable, and he came back into the room and he's like, "Is this that Barbie movie?" And I said, "Yeah, but you can't say another thing because it was the scene where Barbie was crying and America Ferrera said, 'It's just impossible to be a woman.'" And I was like, "Shh, I need to hear this. This is like the homily at church. I need to hear this." And so he stayed with it for a little bit. He could not understand the Kens. I'm just going to tell you right now, he could not make heads or tails of the Kens. That's where we lost him.
Really?
He was like, "What the is this? I can't. Is there not a cowboy movie on?" I'm like, "Wait a minute. One of the Kens has a cowboy hat and some stirrups, I think."
They do get very into horses, so I mean,
I wonder how that movie will hold up over the years.
I think you might be surprised.
You think so?
I think that movie might be the Gene Wilder version of Willy Wonka or Heathers with Winona Ryder and Shannon Doherty. There are some movies that are so not connected to anything real that they never age. Does that make sense? Like, how you look at some movies and you're like, "Oh, this is really dated." Everything about it feels like it's completely old, right? It's
like
out of
16
time.
Candles.
Yeah. Oh, 16 Candles is very problematic.
Yeah.
I mean, it was problematic then, but you weren't allowed to point out that, having sex with drunk girls was something you shouldn't do. Or then you were kind of like, "Oh, you're just so stuck up." But 16 Candles is super problematic. Heathers holds up. The original Willy Wonka holds up. Clueless holds up. Edward Scissorhands holds up. Beetlejuice holds up. What do all these movies have in common? They're detached from this reality. They exist in their own space. And that's why I think Barbie's going to hold up. Discuss.
You may be right. I'm trying to think of some older movies. I mean,
Pillow Talk.
Which one?
Pillow Talk.
Oh, that
Cold
doesn't.
Hand Luke. They are their own.
They are their own thing. Yeah, those Doris Day, Rock Hudson movies are their own thing. But I tried to watch one of those a couple of years ago, and I couldn't hang with it.
It's so ridiculous.
Totally.
But it's so ridiculous. What's the one where she plays a housewife who gets Doris Day? I mean, she plays a housewife who gets some job being a soap commercial star, and she becomes crazy rich selling soap or whatever. When I went through my COVID insomnia and watched Turner Classic Movies every night for a year, I saw all of these movies. But I
Doris
think
Day was so talented. I was reading something about her a year or so ago. I mean, she was so beautiful, but her voice, she was a big band singer in the beginning in her 20s. And then, I guess went on Broadway and then went into movies. And she was like the biggest box office star ever. And I don't know how many husbands. She didn't have a lot of husbands, but she had one husband who became her manager and ripped her off. And I said, why did she stay with this jerk? This guy was blowing her money left and
did she
right.
bless you? Did she love him? Was it
I
love?
don't know. I guess. I don't know how you could, because he was just a scoundrel spending all of her money. She ended up broke, and then she had to rebuild her career again. And her son Terry Melcher became the producer of the Beach Boys. He
I
produced most of the Beach Boys songs.
And I know that name from the Charles Manson case more
Hmm.
than I do from the Beach Boys.
Right, exactly.
Um, I hear what you're saying about the Rock Hudson Doris Day movies. Part of what attracts me to them is they're in Technicolor. And
Right.
when you can't sleep and it's the middle of the night and something that bright and cheerful comes your way. Now, I they're very difficult to swallow because like what? First of all, like what? The weird virgin horror dynamics and the
That was
weird
in every one of them. That was
yeah
in every one of them. And
the
and
weird
the
I
little
won't look at you unless I'm married to you kind of vibe, right?
right.
Yeah.
And the women were always getting hustled by whoever the guy was, in one way or the other, whether it was sexually, whether it was with power in a business situation. They were always getting hustled. Now, in the end, they tended to win.
They always won in the end.
Yeah,
But what
yeah.
kind of victory was that? Because they would win.
Hollow.
They would win not what they had originally been chasing, but they would win, the MRS degree or whatever. So those movies they're very dated and they're very much of their time, but they exist in their own separate universe. And people are putting stuff up, and I agree with every single choice. Princess Bride, yes. Field of Dreams, Knight's Tale, Spaceballs, Sandlot, Stand By Me. Every single one of these movies is dated, but it exists in its own universe, and it's awesome.
You know what else does? Elvis movies.
Oh,
I
I like a
I
good cheesy Elvis movie. I
I
do.
can't watch it through and through, but you know what I would love to see? Like Elvis clips pop up on my phone. I guess I watched a couple of them, and then you know how that works. Um, and so I get one or two a day. And when you look at what a beautiful man he was, especially when he's dancing with Anne Margaret in that Viva Las Vegas movie, those were the two hottest persons on the planet.
I
But you
wish
could you
I
could take
wish
him in any of his movies. If I could just get a compilation, forget the stories, because the stories are all the same. They're always stupid. But if you could just get a compilation of him moving on stages, just before he gets in a fist fight with whoever the guy is who's jealous, I would watch that all day long.
he's one of those stars that I wish I knew a lot less about
Hmm.
because I don't enjoy. I know too much now. I don't enjoy. But I want to say hi. We have something really interesting here. Carrie Humphreys is in Alaska. She's sick today, so she's having a lemonade vodka cocktail because, of course, the citrus is good for you when you're sick. And she said, "Are we on Manson?" I lived through that mess. I was in Northern California during that time.
Oh, wow.
Carrie, do tell. Do tell. And did you see Carrie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is such a fantastic movie, and it's tangentially about the Manson family and the Manson family murders. And it'll break your heart if you know the real story. I don't want to give it away because somebody might not have seen it. Best in Show totally stands up. Bye Bye Birdie, Bob Kim English says that stands up. What else? Strictly Ballroom. I agree with that. Um, it went by.
I think an old movie like Casablanca holds up.
Oh yeah.
I watched it about 5 years ago. Obviously it was made before any of us who are here together were alive. But it was really so interesting to see. And I read about it once, and Humphrey Bogart and Bergman and I think it was Claude Rains, they
Mhm.
were all drinking one night during the production, and they all, I think Bogart
Young
said,
Frankenstein.
this movie is a piece of shit.
No, but I mean,
They
it's
thought it was awful while they were making it.
I mean, I've watched that again recently. It was on Turner Classic, and and Ingrid Bergman is like, "What? We're not going to be together?" And he's like, nobody matters. Hillbeans, kid. We always have Paris." And I was like, "Man, you just want to be with your bros. You just want to hang with your homies. You don't want to have a girlfriend." Um,
No,
Young Frankenstein was
that
one of the
wasn't it.
movies that came up.
He was giving her up so that she would have a better life.
Hmm.
His heart was broken.
Do you have a better life when you turn away from love and choose safety, though? Is that a better life?
He did that for her. He was going to be in Nazi occupied Casablanca. If he put her on the plane with the man who loved her dearly, she would be taken care of. And
At
then
this
he
point
had to
in
go
my
back
life,
and fight the fight as in the resistance.
at this point in my life, I've made enough choices and mistakes to know that I would choose love and figure out how to take care of myself on the back end.
Also, maybe she didn't want to be protected. Maybe she did want to help the resistance. I mean, why is he making the decisions for her? That always irritates me.
Yeah.
But that's an older movie kind of thing.
But that's us reading that movie through
that's 2 or
modern
3
eyes.
generations back.
Yeah, that's us looking
I
at that
think
through modern eyes and going, because
they can
aren't
get
we
it
lucky that
past.
we can choose safety or love, safety or adventure, that we can roll the dice that way? What I love is when you go to a movie, when you watch a movie right now and you get that feeling like this is going to be one of the movies that makes the cut and goes the distance. Pulp Fiction is a great example of a movie that will be relevant and interesting 30 years from now or more.
Only for certain people, because you and I were talking about it, and I don't know if Lamar was with us back then, but we were going on and on about Pulp Fiction, and I got to tell you, the blowback we got on that was like, I can't believe you sent me to see that. Is the most horrible, violent, terrible thing.
There's a lot of violence and profanity.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of stuff going on in that movie. But
Shawshank Redemption. Oh, that's another classic. That will always, I think, be a classic movie.
Yeah.
What else can you think of? What else is a recent movie that you can think of that you know is going to go the distance?
You know what I think is going the distance, and I know we're going to get some people rolling their eyes right now because we don't shut up about it, the Sopranos series.
No question.
I watch them you and I were just talking about it when we were off mic today, because you were, I guess they're playing them in an order on HBO.
Yeah, HBO is running the series in order. And I was telling Bob, if you're a Sopranos fan, you're going to love this little nugget. The actor that played Patsy Parisi, one of the gangsters in Tony's Crew, has a doctorate in math and is a professor when he's not an actor. He's a math teacher in New York.
Isn't that the wildest things? Young Guns. Jody Hawkins said Young Guns has
Tombstone
has legs.
Yeah, I think Steel Magnolias going the distance too. Yeah. Sarah Kirby said Steel Magnolias. I could see that going the distance.
Yeah.
Titanic. Yeah, I think that's going to go. Band of Brothers, Dirty Dancing, because Dirty Dancing is in its own universe. Like it's set in a real place at a real time. But let's be real. Dirty Dancing exists on its own planet, and it
does. Way. Yeah, it does.
It's that ridiculous. Scene where Patrick Swayze is doing this. Let me see if I can reenact this scene.
Yeah, coming down
the hall, and the dancers are behind him, and they're all like.
And the song is
and
"I'm a Love Man."
He's on the stage like this.
Yeah, I'm a love man.
And then he looks at her and he nods, and he's like, "Yeah, baby," and she's like, "Yeah, I forget what your name is in the movie, Patrick Swayze." Yeah, and that's when she dies and does the jump, and her father is like totally irritated. Yeah, that's a good scene. That's a classic.
I'm trying to think what the last movie I saw. It might have been the Barbie movie in a movie theater. It might
I'm
have been the
trying to
Barbie movie and Oppenheimer.
I'm trying to think. I know you tried to go to the movies and something happened and you got this is something that happens every week at my house. Kevin and I will look at each other and go, "We should go to the movies." And I'll go, "Yeah, we should totally go to the movies." I have a Cinemark Club membership that I haven't canceled because I wanted to support them through the pandemic. I have free movie tickets, free popcorn. I think I get a piggyback ride to the bathroom if I want one at this point, right? And we're like, we should go to the movies. Yeah, we should go to the movies. All right, maybe
There is something that is still special. There's a movie theater right outside my neighborhood, and they have these big, comfortable red leather seats that you know push back, and the screens are not big, but there are only four choices. But I remember going there, especially during COVID, where nobody was going out, and I went to the movie one time, and they had tip jars to keep the place open, and I think there's too much tipping going on right now, and I'm a big tipper. But I could say I'm going to put $10 in there to keep this place alive.
Yeah.
the tipping thing makes me so nervous because there are things there are places where you're supposed to tip. But then in my life, I have a couple of places that are sort of gray areas. Like I go for physical therapy to this badass, hardcore practice for athletes, which I am not not even in my imagination am I an athlete. But I injured myself, so they work me over. It's not really a doctor's office, and it's not like a massage therapy spa. Am I supposed to tip? Like, I am so confused all the time.
Sometimes it's ridiculous, and I am a very good tipper, 20-25% at a restaurant, almost no matter what the food is. I just want to support those folks. But the other day I was at a restaurant and I paid my bill and I paid my 20% or 22%. And as I was walking out, I noticed there was a tip jar for the hostess. I don't know. Hi, I'm Bob. Do you have any? And I didn't have reservations. It's just like, hello, yes, pick that table over there.
I
I
always
just paid $29 for lunch, and now I got to.
if I order takeout from a restaurant and go pick it up, I always tip because when my daughter was working as a server at a restaurant, they rotate them through the takeout stand. They're still making $2 an hour and they're dealing with only takeout customers. And people don't realize that that's how
Yeah,
that works.
yeah.
But I want to call out Jill Henley's comment. She said, "Does your perception of Dirty Dancing change if you have a 19 to 20-year-old daughter and you realize Patrick Swayze's character was in his mid-30s?" Girl, that was a problem for me before I had a 19-year-old daughter. That was like I totally understand why dad wants to put baby in a corner because you're a grown ass man with smile lines. But that's how Hollywood works. Very often they cast men to be the romantic partners for women that are 20, 25, or 30 years younger than those men are, because there is nothing more disgusting than a woman in Hollywood over the age of 35. Ew. And we all know that dynamic because we've all seen it play out a gazillion times.
I was reading, what was the book or article? I can't remember. It might have been something in Vanity Fair online. And I'm not going to say who the guy was, who the actor was, but this person went on beyond his acting career. He was basically a B actor, but he went on to a whole nother part of his life. And he went to play golf with another famous actor. And he said, I had such a great time last night with Lana Turner. We're both so oversexed that we're going to be getting together many times in the future. Lana Turner was 17 and he was 28, 29.
Well, someone just posted, let me go, let me get it. Oh, come back, come back, come back, come back, come back. Mackenzie Jen said, did you see where Jeff Bridges refused to kiss Winona Ryder in an audition because she was too young? Like, but don't we all just know Jeff Bridges is the real deal and one of the really decent human
That's
beings?
interesting. Yeah, that's
It,
really interesting.
it's
Oh,
so,
it was a book I read. I think it's just called Hollywood. It was
I
a book.
read, I saw the best tweet today. So today, Google turned 26. Happy 26th birthday, Google. Leonardo DiCaprio just switched to Bing. It's so good. Ah, Jeff Bridges is the GOAT, Amber. There's no question. Hi, Regina. How are you? Hi, Wendy Heinrich. Oh, she said it's far-fetched, but it made me shocked like never before. Squid Game. Wendy, I told Bob, do not watch Squid Game. Do not. Heather, am I right? Do not watch Squid Game,
Yeah.
Bob.
He'll
No,
never,
Okay.
yeah.
no. And don't ask him, don't go, oh, Bob, you should watch Squid Game. No, Bob is not watching Squid Game. No,
No.
no.
I'm trying to get through the political season, and then I have to make some changes at the beginning of next year. And it's going to be, first of all, I think all of the cable news stations are going to go like that, one way or the other. And I'm going to try to just start watching more movies and series that I should have been watching, like Veep. And I know you kicked my butt for
Oh,
not
you would
watching
love
Veep.
Veep.
And
That's the thing, though, that
that's what
I'm mystified by, because you would
I know.
love it.
I know.
I know you. Like, I am your own personal search engine recommendation machine. I would never send you towards Squid Game, but Veep,
I know.
Veep was made just for you.
I don't know why. I just, for a while, got caught up too much watching cable news, and then my wife demanded that I not, and so I went back to like The Sopranos and reading and all of that. But at the first of the year, I've got to find something to do after 7 o'clock at night with the TV that will replace what I've been doing for too long.
Everyone who watches Veep is like, Bob, this is your show. Everyone who knows you knows it's your show. We're watching Bad Monkey right now with Vince Vaughn, and it is on Apple TV, I believe. So Vince Vaughn plays a cop in Miami who runs afoul of the department, and he ends up being suspended. He moves to Key West, where he's working as a restaurant inspector, and he gets sucked back into law enforcement. And it's a really dark, funny comedy. I think you might like Bad Monkey with Vince Vaughn, but I know that you are gonna love Veep, and you have so many
I'm
seasons.
going to make a commitment to do that. I need to.
You would love it. Buster. Okay, so Julia Louis-Dreyfus starts out playing the Vice President of the United States,
Right.
and her bag man, her personal assistant, is Buster from Arrested Development. And he's so Tony. What is his Tony Hale is the actor's name. He is so amazing and perfect in this role. You're going to be on the floor, doubled over. You're not going to be able to breathe. That's how good Veep is.
Billy Privet said she liked Tulsa King, and I watched one or two of the Tulsa Kings because you got it for free on some platform, and then I didn't have that platform. I can't take any more platforms. I got more platforms than Home Depot. And I didn't follow up on it because, once in a while, like when the Beatles thing came out, I got, what was it, Disney Plus? And then I'm paying for Disney Plus $10 a month and I don't watch anything else. It's maddening.
I just canceled a bunch of different streaming services for that reason, because I'm like, I never watched this. Why am I paying?
Yeah, exactly.
I got Disney Plus for a couple of reasons. watched the shows I got it for, and canceled it and didn't think anything about it until the night my phone rang. And it was one of my daughters. And she's like, Mother, I have Disney Plus. And I'm like, what? Disney Plus. Like, Disney Plus? What about it? I tried to log on, and she wanted to watch like Monster High cartoons or some nonsense like that. I was like, honey, I canceled that months ago because we have all these platforms that you had to have, and nobody watches them.
I know.
Nobody.
I know.
Bob, I don't think Tulsa King is your show. I think Only Murders in the Building would be good for you.
I got so
know
bored
you
with
would
that.
love Veep.
No, I got bored with that.
You got bored with that?
Mm.
Martin Short and Steve Martin? You got
I don't know. It just didn't work for me. I liked all three of them, but it just didn't work for me. It seemed.
The first season was very good, but
Mhm.
I haven't liked any of the new episodes.
Are there still murders in the same damn building there? I mean,
It's like that condo you
Basically.
bought.
Yeah. Just
No, I'm-
Don't be surprised.
they're like roaches. They're everywhere.
Don't act like that doesn't happen all the damn time.
I'd have to move out. I mean, after the seventh murder, I've got to move out. I got to sell.
Oh,
Becky
you're
Sutherland
so
is with us.
picky.
Yeah, I know.
I walked by
Anyway.
your old condo this afternoon.
Oh, really?
I did. Yeah, it was a nice day here. And after I finished work, I was writing a True Weird episode. And I was like, let's go for a walk. And I didn't want to walk in my neighborhood because, that gets monotonous. So we ended up doing a big loop, and we came right by your condo. And I'm here to tell you there was a live band.
Really?
It's just like you remembered it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. It's that time of the year. Oh, somebody said a very good show is the World War II show with the Masters of the Air, I think. I watched a little bit of that.
You did watch that because you talked about that.
With Austin Butler.
Austin Butler, who was Elvis in the Elvis movie.
Yeah,
Angel wants to know if you ever watched Peaky Blinders. It is so good, but you have to turn the subtitles on.
I watched one or two. It's the most violent thing I think I've ever seen. I just couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle it.
Oh my gosh, y'all, it's after 8:00. We have to jump off and let you get to your lives. But before we do, a couple of things. Tomorrow on the regular show, the People's Movie Critic is reviewing Blink Twice, which is the new Channing Tatum movie with Zoe Saldana. And we have a brand new Talking Lamar episode. And we have a brand new True Weird Stuff. We took a couple of weeks off so Max could have a break. But we have a brand new True Weird Stuff dropping tomorrow called The King of Quacks. And this is the wildest story and just shows you the power of the American dream. If you can dream it and convince enough people that you're not full of it, you can do it. That's The King of Quacks tomorrow on True Weird Stuff.
Thank you all. Thank you so
Paul.
much. Yeah. Thanks, Heather. And
cheers.
We'll see you on the radio.
Okay, we're clear.